Hi everyone, how are you all doing today?
I'm very happy today.
I'm great.
Alright, that's good to hear. So today we are going to talk about three important issues that many young people nowadays are facing, which include mental health, bullying, and drug abuse. So these issues are actually more connected than we might think, and they can really affect a person's well-being and future. So as a future teachers, I think it's important for us to understand these challenges and talk about what we can do to help.
Yeah, I agree. These issues are becoming more common among young people, and we really shouldn't ignore them. They can affect student studies, mental health, and personal growth. As future teachers, it is important for us to understand these challenges and do our best to create a safe, supportive, and positive learning environment for the student.
Yes, that's true.
That's true. We often focus on so much on academic results that we forget. Students also need emotional support and someone to guide them. Through this discussion, I hope that we can come up with some practical ideas to help students to deal with these challenges and improve their overall well-being.
Alright, before we begin, so what do you guys like to talk about?
I will tell bullying. It is something I feel strongly about, and the statistics in Malaysia are really worrying.
Alright, and you?
I think I will go with drug abuse. It is a serious problem among young people, and I think it connects closely to both bullying and mental health.
That's perfect, so let's begin. So I would like to start by talking about mental health, which has become one of the biggest issues among young people today. Before we look at the causes and solutions, let's first understand what mental health actually means. Like, mental health means, according to the World Health Organization, mental health is about our emotional, psychological, and social well-being. It will affect how we think, feel, and deal with everyday challenges. According to the WHO, 1 in 7 adolescents aged between 10 to 19 experiences a mental health disorder. So to put that into a perspective, in class of 35 students, around 5 of them could be struggling with mental health issues. So I think that quite worrying because many young people will still suffer in silence and don't reach out of the help. By the way, the first major cause of mental health problem is academic issues. Like, in today's competitive environment, students face high expectations from parents, teachers, and society to achieve excellent grades while balancing extracurricular activities which organized by school and preparing for their future careers. As a result, so many people worry that poor academic performance will affect their future opportunities, leading to stress and anxiety. And research published in 4th years in psychiatry found that academic stress is closely linked to anxiety, depression, sleep problems, and emotional exhaustion.
Yeah, I totally agree with what you say. Besides focusing on their studies, many students are also expected to take on leadership roles, join competitions, and be active in different school activities. Sometimes all these expectations can become a bit too much and end up putting a lot of pressure on them.
Yes, I think that's a really good point. And I also think that a lot of students tend to compare themselves with their friends. So especially when they see others getting better results, this can make them feel like they are not good enough and start to doubting themselves.
Yes, that's great. So as we can see, mental health isn't just affected by academic pressure, but by social expectation and personal pressure also play a very big role. So now let's move on to our next point, which is social media and digital influence. Now these days, social media is a big part of our daily lives, and we use many platforms like Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook to connect with others, to connect with our friends and families, share our experience, and get more information. While social media has many benefits, but it also many teenagers also spending too much time on it. can also affect their mental health. So I think a lot of young people compare themselves to what they see online. When they constantly see others looking successful or living a perfect life, they may start feeling like they are not good enough. Because this can lead to self-esteem, anxiety, and unhappiness. In fact, a 2022 study published in the International Journal of Research and Public Health found that excessive social media use is linked to higher level of anxiety, depression, and low self-esteem among adolescents.
Christina, I have a question. Do you think social media itself is harmful?
I think not really, because social media has many benefits. However, the problem is many people start depending on likes and comments to feel good about themselves. As you guys know, nowadays some people like to judge someone online.
Oh yeah.
I agree because this shows that the student needs digital literacy skills to use social media responsibly.
Yes, so now let's move to the effects of mental health problems. Like when students experience anxiety, depression, or chronic stress, their ability to focus decreases significantly because they might struggle to concentrate during the lessons, complete the assignments with their classmates, or prepare effective for the examinations. So, as mental health problems can also affect motivation and participation in learning activities, as a result, students may experience a decline in academic pressure.
Exactly, Christina. As a future teachers, we need to remember that poor performance is not always because students are not trying, but sometimes they just need more support and understanding instead of criticism.
I think the second and most serious effect is that self-harm and suicidal behavior, like when mental health problem remains untreated for a long period. I think some individuals may experience feeling of hopeless and emotional distress. According to the WHO, suicide remains one of the leading causes of death among individuals aged between 15 to 29 worldwide. So the statistics highlight that the seriousness of mental health issues and the importance of early intervention.
Yeah, that's a really worrying statistic. Many people still think mental health problems are just temporary sadness, but they can actually have very serious consequences.
Yes. Correct. That's truly correct. So now, strengthening school counseling services, like many students hesitate to seek for help because counseling services are limited or difficult to access. Schools should employ trainee counselors who can provide professional support. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree.
So students should be able to discuss their concerns confidently and without fear of judgment. Regular counseling sessions can help identify problems before they become severe. Additionally, counselors can teach coping strategies, stress management techniques, and emotional regulation skills.
Yeah, I strongly support this solution. Early intervention is more effective than waiting until problems become serious.
Yes, that's probably true.
I also agree that because many students may not feel comfortable discussing personal issues with the teachers or parents, counselors can provide a safe place which is in supportive spaces.
I think mental health education and awareness programs also should be organized by school, provide education that helps students recognize mental health challenges, reduce stigma, and encourage them to seek for health behavior. When mental health becomes a normal topic of discussion, students may feel more comfortable for seeking support when they need it.
I think awareness is essential because people cannot solve problems that they do not understand.
Yes.
Exactly, Ferial. And I also think that education empowers individuals to take action before problems escalate.
So, alright, now it's my turn that talking about bullying. I found that discussion on mental health is very insightful, and one important point that stood out to me is that bullying can significantly affect a person's mental well-being. This leads directly to the issue I will be discussing today, which is bullying. Although some people view bullying as a normal part of growing up, research shows that it can have serious and long-lasting effects on individuals.
Yes.
Firstly, do you know what does bullying means?
I think bullying is repeated aggressive behavior which can hurt and control another person.
Yes, I think it includes a kicking and how you punch people like that, like bullies.
Yeah, alright. What I say is correct. So, according to UNICEF, it involves an imbalance of power between the bully and the victims. Bullying can be physical, verbal, social, or online. That is cyberbullying. UNICEF also reports that one in 3 students worldwide has experienced bullying, showing that it is a widespread social issue.
Yeah, that's true.
So the main reason for bullying is peer pressure and the desire to be accepted by others. Many people think bullies are naturally aggressive, but studies show that some students bully others simply because they want to be accepted or become more popular. When their friends laugh, pay attention, or support their action, it directly encourages the behavior to continue, turning into bullying. This is very common during adolescence as teenagers usually care a lot about social status and feeling accepted. Additionally, some people also might join in bullying because they are afraid of being rejected if they defend the victim.
Yes, that totally.
I think that's interesting. Are you suggesting that bullying is often influenced by peer culture?
Yes, some students bully others because they want acceptance and attention from their peers.
Right, from my perspective, I think that suggests bullying is not only for an individual issues but also a social issues that involve a school environment.
Oh yeah, the second major cause of bullying is lack of empathy and family influence.
Yes.
Empathy refers to the ability to understand and share another person's feeling. When students lack empathy, they may not realize how much emotional harm their words or action can cause. A family environment can also play an important role. Children often learn behavior by observing adults around them. If they are frequently exposed to aggressive conflict or disrespectful behavior, they may begin to view such behavior as normal. Before that, I have done some research, and the research published in Journal of School Violence found that exposure to family conflict is associated with higher levels of aggressive behavior among adolescents. In my opinion, this suggests that bullying is not always caused by individuals' personality alone. Sometimes it reflects influence from home and the surrounding environment.
Yes, that's a really good point. For me, it shows that bullying doesn't just happen in school, but it started online, or outside the classroom, or continue at school.
I agree. From what you have explained, it's clear that reducing bullying is not just the school's responsibility. Families also play an important role in helping to prevent it.
Okay, now let's move on to the effects of bullying. First and foremost, the effect is damage to mental health. Victims of bullying often experience anxiety, depression, low self-esteem, loneliness, and emotional distress. A 2023 study published in BMC Public Health found a significant relationship between bullying, victimization, and suicidal behavior among adolescents. When students are repeatedly bullied, they may begin to believe the negative comments directed at them, which can seriously affect their confidence and emotional well-being.
Yeah, I think this really shows how our topics are connected. Like earlier, we talked about mental health, and now we can see that bullying can be one of the causes.
That's great. Now we can see that people often tell victims to just ignore it or be stronger, but it's not that simple. When bullying keeps happening, it really can affect a person's mental health.
Yeah, exactly. That's why bullying should never be dismissed as harmless teasing. The second effect is the negative impact on education. Students who experience bullying often feel unsafe at school. As a result, they may avoid attending classes, participate less in activities, and have difficulty concentrating on their studies. Over time, this can affect their academic performance and overall learning experience. Furthermore, bullying does not only affect the victims. It can create a negative school environment where students feel fearful, distrustful, and less engaged in learning.
Yes, that totally.
I agree with Ariel because a positive learning environment is really important. When bullying happens, students may be afraid to speak up, so they want to share their ideas or even want to ask a question.
Yes, that's true. Bullying doesn't just affect one student, but it affects the whole school environment. Like that's why it's something everyone should take seriously.
Yeah. Now I will discuss the solution. The first one is implementing comprehensive anti-bullying programs. Rather than addressing incidents individually, schools should implement a whole school anti-bullying program that includes clear policies, awareness campaigns, teacher training, and self-reporting systems. The goal is to create a culture where bullying is unacceptable. When students understand that bullying will not be tolerated, they are less likely to engage in such behavior.
Yes, I think the animals reporting system is particularly useful, and many victims hesitate to seek for help because they fear retaliation.
Yes, it's also giving students a safe way to report incidents may encourage earlier intervention. Right?
Yes.
My second solution is empathy education and social emotional learning. Research suggests that empathy can be taught and developed. Schools can organize activities that encourage students to understand different perspectives and recognize the emotional impact on their actions. For example, role-playing activities, group discussion, community service projects, and reflective exercise. These activities help students develop emotional intelligence and interpersonal skills. Instead of simply telling students not to bully, schools can help them understand why bullying is harmful.
By the way, I find this solution particularly valuable because it focuses on prevention rather than reaction, right?
Yeah, and I also think that if students learn empathy from a young age, they will really feel like less likely to bully others.
Yeah, exactly. Prevention is often more effective than punishment alone.
Yeah, that's a really important point for you. When we look at bullying and mental health together, we can see that they're closely connected, and this is also can lead us to our next issue, which is drug abuse. Sometimes students who experience bullying may start feeling anxious or emotionally overwhelmed. If they don't get the support they need, some may turn to unhealthy ways of coping, including drug abuse. So, instead of looking at this issue separately, I think it is important to understand how they're connected. So, first and foremost, what is drug abuse?
Drug abuse, I think it can affect our brain system.
Yeah.
Yes, correctly. Because drug abuse refers to the harmful and inappropriate use of substances that affect a person's physical and mental functioning. These substances may include illegal drugs such as methamphetamine, heroin, ecstasy, and cannabis, as well as the misuse of prescription medications. According to the United Nations Office on Drug and Crime, hundreds of millions of people worldwide have used drugs, and young people also remain one of the most vulnerable groups. What makes drug abuse particularly concerning is that it does not only affect the individual user. Therefore, drug abuse should be viewed as both a personal and social issue. Let's go to the first cause, which is peer pressure. Adolescence is a stage where many young people place great importance on friendship and social acceptance. As a result, some individuals may feel pressure to engage in risky behaviors in order to fit in with their peers. In some cases, young people also may experiment with drugs because they want to avoid rejection or gain acceptance within a social groups. So, some research published in the International Journal of Environmental Research and Public Health also identify peer influence as one of the strongest predictors of substance use among adolescents. In my opinion, this shows that how social relationships can significantly influence decision making among young people. You agree?
Yeah, I agree. However, I think pressure should not be viewed as an excuse for drug use. Young people still need to take responsibility for their decisions.
Exactly. From our discussion, we can see that peer pressure has a big influence. At the same time, students also need to confidence and skills to say no and make good decisions, which is we call assertive skills. So the second one I would like to talk is mental health problems and emotional distress. Earlier we have discussed how mental health issues such as anxiety, depression, and chronic stress are becoming increasingly common among young people. Unfortunately, some individuals may turn to drugs as a way of coping with these emotional challenges. And then some people also use drugs to temporarily escaping feelings from sadness, stress, loneliness, or anxiety. However, while drugs may provide short-term relief, they do not solve the underlying problems and may eventually worsen the situation.
Yes.
And also, some research that I have done, which is from Substance Abuse Treatment Prevention and Policy, found a strong relationship between mental health disorder and substance abuse among adolescents and young adults. In my opinion also, this shows that drug abuse is often linked to deeper emotional and psychological issues rather than simply poor decision making.
Yes, I totally think that this is also one of the important point because many people assume that drug users simply make poor choices. I would like to accept to some point that your explanation suggests that some individuals are trying to cope with emotional suffering.
Yes. And it's also that I'm not saying that drug use should be excused, but however, understanding the underlying causes help us approach the issue with greater empathy. You agree, Faria?
Yeah, I agree with you. If mental health problems contribute to drug abuse, then improving mental health support may also reduce substance abuse.
Alright, let's go to the next, to the effects, which is it can damage physical and psychological health. Drug abuse can seriously damage both physical and mental health that can lead to addiction. Long-term drug use can affect a person's ability to think clearly, make decisions, and manage emotions. It also can increase the risk of anxiety, depression, and other mental health problems. According to the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime, drug abuse also can continue to contribute to significant health burdens worldwide, particularly among young people.
Yes.
So this shows that the drug abuse can have long-term consequences that affect person overall quality of life.
Yeah, I think many people underestimate how serious addiction can be. Once addiction develops, recovery becomes much more difficult and often requires professional treatment and support.
Alright, I totally agree. That highlights the why prevention is so important. Once addiction develops, then treatment becomes much more challenging.
Alright, the second major is social and educational consequences. Drug abuse can negatively affect relationship with family members, friends, teachers, and it's also individuals may become isolated from their support systems and experience increasing conflict in their daily lives. In educational settings, students who abuse drugs may have difficulty concentrating, perform poorly academically, and become less motivated to learn. In some cases, Drug abuse may also contribute to involvement in criminal activities. So, therefore, the impact of drug abuse can also extend beyond the individual and can affect families, schools, and communities.
Yeah, I think the education impact is particularly important for us as future teachers. A student struggling with addiction may not simply be a problem student. They may require support and interventions.
Yes, that's exactly. Labeling students without understanding their circumstances can make the situation more worse.
I completely agree with Christina and Ferrell that support and rehabilitation should be prioritized whenever possible. So the solution that we can make is we can manage this drug abuse by early prevention and education. Many anti-drug programs focus only on warning students about dangers. While this is important, effective prevention should go beyond fear-based messages. So the student should learn how to decision-making skills, refusing skills, stress management, healthy coping strategies. Education should help students to understand why people use the drugs and how to make responsible choices. Prevention is often how effective the treatment because it stops problems before they begin.
Yeah, that's right. Education gives students the knowledge and confidence to resist peer pressure.
Yes, and when students understand the consequences, like they might more likely to inform the decision.
Yeah, I would like to go to another solution, which is it can improving access to mental health and support services. As we discussed earlier, emotional distress often contributes to substance abuse. Therefore, providing counseling and psychological also support that may reduce the likelihood of drug use. Like schools, universities, and communities, they should provide counseling service, peer support groups, mental health awareness programs, or not early intervention service. Now, we have discussed all the three social issues. I think that it is important to reflect on how they are connected. Mental health problems can make individuals more vulnerable to drug abuse. Bullying can contribute to poor mental health. Drug abuse can worsen mental health and damage social relationships. Rather than viewing these issues separately, we should also recognize that they influence one another, right?
Right. So that's exactly, and we have discussed mental health, bullying, and drug abuse. Since these issues are interconnected, so I believe our solutions should be addressed all three together.
Yes. Focusing on only one issue may overlook the root cause of the others.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I suggest establishing an integrated student well-being center in schools, right?
Right. Totally. I totally agree, and that's an excellent idea because it provides counseling, anti-bullying programs, and drug prevention education.
Yeah, I support this recommendation.
I agree as well.
Okay, therefore, so our group has reached a consensus to recommend an integrated student well-being center. Like for final to wrap up, we have discussed three major social issues. Like the first is mental health, second is bullying, and the third is drug abuse.
Yes.
Yeah, and we found that these issues are caused by factors like academic pressure, social media, peer pressure, and emotional challenges.
Yes.
Yeah, you know what? We also talk about their effects, including stress, poor academic performance, addiction, and negative impacts on the school environment.
By the way, I think the most importantly is that we can see these issues all are connected but not separated.
Yeah, that's why we need solutions that address all of them together.
Yes. Creating a supportive and caring school environment is one of the best ways to improve students' well-being.
Alright, so we will end with the group discussion now. So thank you for you all.
Alright,
Right.
thank you.